Hello viewers, welcome to MBTV Weekly Property Roundup. We bring to you top developments from Indian real estate space, which is going to have a lasting impact on you as a consumer. I am Prasun Kumar, Marketing Head of Magicbricks, and with me is Jayashree Kurup, Senior Real Estate Journalist and Editor-in-Chief of MBTV. Welcome, Jayashree.
Thanks, Prasun.
So, some important news came this week, Jayashree. First was for consumers, much of a relief. UP-RERA has, out of 30 odd thousand complaints that it received, has completed the hearing for about over 24,000 cases. Now, what happens when these hearings get completed, and what kind of relief is this for consumers?
No, actually, they have started the hearings. It doesn't mean that all these 24,000 cases have been resolved.
Okay.
What has happened is they have been addressed. A bulk of them have been addressed, and some 6,000 cases are still to be addressed. But the fact is that they've become very efficient with the online system, so that at least the hearings are going on uninterrupted. And this is happening. I think about a third of those are from the Greater Noida region. The rest of it is from Lucknow and other cities. So the good news is that it's being heard, and they are trying to speed it up. Also remember, Prasun, a lot of problems have been resolved. The intense consumer interest in buying properties has pushed developers to somehow get things sorted out and go forward. So I think as many people as can are completing projects. So I think it's a good time for the authority to pick up speed.
Yes, absolutely. And in line with that, Jayashree, one of the things that consumers have also been worried about is while RERA mandates, a large sum of the money, 70-80%, to be put under escrow accounts, whether that's actually going in escrow accounts or not. And there's always this amount of distrust or doubt in the mind of the consumer. Now, UP-RERA, the news came that they are going to create facility for disclosure of escrow accounts.
Yeah.
How will this happen? And I, as a consumer, how can I go and check and benefit out of this?
See, if you know that this is the escrow account, you can tally that the money that you're putting in is going into the separate account. Now, remember, out of that, the 70% of the money can be has to be used to in a special account, which is used only for construction, and 30% is what the developer is allowed to take out for work that has already been done. So, at least the consumer knows that the money that he's putting in, even though it was an escrow account, nobody was really sure whether it was actually going into the escrow account. So the UP-RERA said fair point, and they have agreed to let this happen. I think this is an important move. It will bring more transparency and trust. Basically, there is confidence of the consumer is completely shattered. So you need to do these things to rebuild that confidence.
Yes. And let's hope all other RERA authorities also pick this up.
Yeah.
And this happens across states. Now, moving from Noida to one of the most premium real estate markets of the country, which is Gurugram. And in Gurugram, we have seen a recent spurt in sealing of illegal constructions or properties where constructions have not happened as per approved plans. Now, DTCP is proposing a 10-fold fee hike to deseal properties. How significant is this?
Pretty significant. Actually, this is again a response to a consumer complaint. A lot of Gurugram is actually layouts, right? It's rather than built up, it is layouts. And builders, because there's so much interest in buying property, builders have been picking up these plots and building on that. And it's single floors that are being built and sold. But because they want to maximize the floor space and usable space, they all caution has been abandoned, and what they are doing is actually overbuilding. They wait for a completion certificate, then there is overbuilding. In fact, in one house in Sushant Lok, which was widely reported in the papers, 2 toilets were built in the balcony. Now, these kind of things can actually endanger the entire colony, right? And that is what this entire move is of. The penalty used to be so small that the builders didn't mind paying that penalty and continuing. Now they are not doing that. They've increased it tenfold. So they're hoping that stiff fine would help
people. Yeah. Okay. And staying in Gurgaon, Jayashree, the circle rates are reported to go up quite steeply in Gurugram. Now it's one of the premium markets in the country, any which way, and it's a costly market. Now, with further increase in circle rates, is it going to go out of bound for average buyer?
Of course, it will. Big time. And these are steep hikes. Remember that last year they did not hike. They had announced that they are not hiking because they wanted the market to become active. But out of all the property markets, Gurgaon is the last market to get active. It's not as active as the rest of the markets. So it's like, cutting off your nose to spite your face. You are hiking the circle rates at a time when the consumers already under stress, right? And the consumers are saying, even our reports have shown that consumers are not opening up their purse strings bigger. They're just saying that within the money that I have, I want a bigger house. So I think there should have been more measures to say that let's get more people to buy houses, rather than say that the ones who are buying, let's extract as much as we can from them.
That's
And I want to make a point here, Prasun, not only about Gurgaon, but about every city in the country. The process of fixing circle rates is a very unscientific process here. There's no third-party pricing data. There is IIM Bangalore had tried to work with the Karnataka authorities on evolving a scientific process, but hardly anybody even knows about it. So we think that the circle rates is a very misused tool by the municipal authorities, and actually we should be campaigning for something way more scientific than what is happening now. Whenever they want money, they just arbitrarily hike the circle rates.
It's quite an eye opener, Jayashree, because something which is as fundamental as circle rate, on which most of the transactions of properties are decided in this country. If there is no set process and no standardized process, across markets, then obviously it calls for a quick and urgent look into this.
Absolutely. And we've been championing this. We actually work with IIM Bangalore. We offer some Magicbricks data to them to study this entire process about market rates and so on. But unfortunately, other than us, we come out with the prop index, which is an index of values. And there's hardly any other third-party index.
That's right.
A widely accepted, fully foolproof price index is something that our country lacks.
Yes. And this is one of the challenges, isn't it? I mean, while on one hand we say that real estate remains a state subject, and therefore each state has to frame his, its own rule on this. But then that also leads to challenges like this, where there is a certain amount of standardization that is required pan India on certain matters.
Yes.
These probably something like an umbrella body like RERA, for example, or an umbrella rule like RERA. For real estate is also required, which standardizes a lot of these processes and policies across states, which are kind of not to be looked at by each state authorities. Really, I mean, they can.
Basically what you're saying is a national law which can be implemented locally separately, but that national law, it is so faulty right now. There are so many small tinkerings that need to be done, and circle rates is definitely one of them.
Yes, absolutely. Now, moving over to Punjab in Chandigarh, over 300 residents have given consent for solar rooftop plant scheme. Now, solar energy is one of the most touted and most publicized programs under the present dispensation. And India has achieved quite a lot in this area, and we are one of the largest solar energy producers today. But it is yet to reach every rooftop to that extent, right? Now, what are the challenges there for an individual to really take this on? And and in that light, how significant is this move from residents of Chandigarh to collectively come together and give it to the authorities to install solar panels?
See, it's one way of getting people to be aware. I think awareness building is very, very weak. The second thing that has not happened, I'll give my own example. I have been saying that I wanted to go completely solar. I have done in the last 2 weeks ago. But the point is, it took me a full year to get that panel installed. And not just because it was a vendor problem or an authority problem. The processes are very tricky, and one doesn't know whom to go to, and that kind of thing. The same thing, UK today, I think about 38% of their power comes from solar. And we, in a country which has so much sunlight,
Sunlight, yeah.
we have very high intensity sunlight. We can generate so much power. We are still at something like 13 or 15% or something like that.
Yeah.
Clearly, we need awareness. We need a foolproof system and an efficient rendering of that. Now, more and more people coming together as collectives. As an individual, you have to fight a lonely battle. As a collective, you can actually get much better results. So that's what it's required, I think.
Sure. And in a way, harnessing solar energy can also kind of decontrol the entire energy supply market, in a sense that right now there's a certain structure with which it operates, and and those are opportunities as well, apart from challenges.
Big opportunity.
Yeah. Moving to Maharashtra, where we have been seeing a whole lot of progressive legislations coming. There is a special drive now for housing societies to get deemed conveyance on the lands on which they are built. How significant is this development, and how does it help?
2012, the societies that societies could take their conveyance certificates for the land and building had come up, but hardly any societies came forward. I mean, it was a status quo. They didn't know what to do. Why should you spend this effort and money doing this? But now I think they're giving it a nudge, saying that this is more towards conformity to rules, regulations, and so on. I think Maharashtra is trying to push a lot of reforms as far as conforming to regulations go. And they are also, it's not just the stick, they are also offering the carrot. And this is another example of that. Like, they dropped the stamp duty and registration rates, and suddenly you saw huge amounts of transactions happening in the market. I think they will have to also create a lot of awareness why societies need this. Remember that in Maharashtra, a lot of societies have to be redeveloped because they're very old and they are cessed buildings. Once you have the conveyance, that's when you can go for active redevelopment. And that means that you get the TDR rights, the extra FAR, and so on. Now, all this is important, but consumers only know it when they go in for redevelopment. Here, they're trying to push them to follow the rules earlier.
Sure. Right. So this is it, viewers, for this week. We will come back again next week with important developments from that week. Till then, keep watching MBTV. Lots of important shows coming in.